Hello, and welcome to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the injury market's top program for doctors, lawyers, and insurers who want to gain greater insight on how to improve patient recovery results and deliver better services in the U.S. injury market. Please welcome your host, Dr. Jeffrey Allen Kronk.
All right, what I want to talk about today is how do you increase your confidence in the personal injury market? How do you become more confident? I do a training program called the Smart Injury Doctors Program, and one of the things we find is a lot of doctors don't feel they're confident. They feel like they need to improve their confidence. And we hear it a lot. You know, they don't feel like their documentation is as good as it needs to be, or they're maybe worried about the medical legal aspect of things. They're worried about deposition. They're worried about trial. They're worried about the fact that the personal injury market is a highly regulated market. They're worried about special investigation units. They're worried about what the insurance company could do. They're worried, can they sleep at night? Can they sleep well at night? They're worried. And when you're worrying, you obviously it's a lack of confidence. You don't have confidence in that particular area. And first, we should start out by just saying, hey, what is confidence in the first place? Well, by definition, it's the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something, with firm trust. So the root of the word is to have full trust. Now, I got to break it to you. I got to break some news to you. There are no absolutes. There is no absolute. Wow, the person's arrived at the ultimate confidence. They are at the end of the road confident. There is no further confidence that they can actually have. And if you look at that and you say, well, okay, if that's true, and you never are, there's no 100% confident. There's always improvement in confident. You go, okay, well, what improves confidence? So if a person doesn't feel confident, what is it that improves confidence? And I'm going to bring up another term here, but anywhere where you don't feel confident, it's because you're average or below average. You're average or below average. So another definition of a word, if I want to look at the word average, and I look it up in the dictionary, I'm going to see there's a term that says mediocre, not very good. Average. And so, when I look at that word, it's like, okay, I don't want to be mediocre. So any place where you're uncertain, if your documentation is mediocre, or it could be really stellar, it's just that you don't have any experience with it, so you don't know. Right? So any area where you don't know, knowledge is also an area to improve certainty, right? So you have this thing called certainty. Well, what is certainty? Well, it's the quality of being reliably true. That's all certainty is. And so anything where you're certain on is you're beyond doubt. You've removed some doubt. So what I'm going to say to you, to kind of start in on this, is you gotta get out of average. You have to get out of average. You have to get out of average in your ability to treat the patient. You have to get out of average. Now, when I say you have to get out of average, for me personally, in my own experience as a doctor of chiropractic, my first 2 years, I starved to death as a chiropractor. 3 years then into it, I got some coaching, some consulting, and I was doing very, very well. If you looked at me financially or numbers wise, you'd say, wow, those are some really great numbers. He's doing well. Look at the amount of money that he's making, things like that. But I knew one thing. I knew that I was trying to correct spines, and I knew that I was totally average, maybe even below average. I just kept going, wow, I just can't do this. I don't know how to do this. And what I had to do is I had to hook up with my coach was a guy named Bro Pettibon. And he showed me how to realign spines. Now, that was my goal. That might not be your goal. Your goal, you can apply it to whatever goals you have. But he's the one, he and another guy by the name of Harold McCoy really got me to look at injury work and how significant injury work was. And I decided I wanted to be the best in my area. I wanted to be in the top 2% of the providers that could realign a spine. And I wanted to be the best as a person that could help people who are injured. Because remember, 55% of the people that are injured never fully recover. So I wanted to assume that risk. I wanted to help that person. That was like, wow, that's a fun game. These people are injured, and I want to be so damn good at what I do that I seriously minimize their risk, no matter what comes in. I could have a patient who comes in, they've got pre-existing diabetes, they're overweight, they have really poor diet, they have severe ligament damage due to an injury, due to an auto injury, or due to a work injury. They don't have great habits, they don't exercise, and now I've got to help that person to get through this injury and to help assist them with their future life so that this is not causing them a problem. And if I can make modifications to what they're doing, or their approach to maybe their diet or their exercise or their body itself, great. That's my influence. And are they going to be my patient for the rest of their life? Yes, until they fire me. Yes, they are. Right? So what I got, and I knew at that point, well, what do I need? Well, I need to be around people that know things that I don't know so that they can speed up my learning curve, seriously speed up my learning curve. To this day, I am a doctor in areas, whether it's area of business, area of clinic. If I don't understand something, I'm looking for somebody that has great certainty in the particular area that I'm looking to expand into, and I will pay well to get that knowledge because it allows me, it gives me a great deal of time. I save a hell of a lot of time. If I knew now, at my age, what I knew when I first was coming out at 27, 28 years old as a private provider, as a licensed doctor of chiropractic, it would have saved me a lot of time and a lot of money. So one of the things that you want to do if you want to improve your certainty is you need to be around people that are certain, and you need to be around people that have already done or have the information that you need in order to get more certain. But the biggest thing is you got to decide you're not going to be average. You're not going to be average in treatment. If you're a treatment provider, I don't care what it is. If you do decompression, or you do Gonstead, or you do whatever it is that you do, instead of being in the middle of the bell curve, the middle of the bell curve sucks. That's the average. That you're living the life of average. And a life of average is a mediocre life. It just is. It's not a particularly pleasant. It's not a particularly fun. It can be seductively making you feel like everything's great. I've made a little bit of money. I've done this. I've done that. And it can give you a false sense of security. But it's not the most fun place to be. The fun place to be is at the front of the bell curve, no matter what it is you're doing, If you make that decision, I'm going from the middle of the bell curve to the front of the bell curve. Or if I'm at the front of the bell curve, I'm going further to the front of the bell curve, and I'm going to maintain my position in the front of the bell curve. In the injury market, you will become more certain. You will have more confidence. My advice, though, is to have coach. Today, I think it's kind of funny because in my own personal career, I have spent a lot of resources on coaching, on having people help me, whether it's in marketing, whether it's in business, whether it's in finance, whether it's in clinic, whether it's in technique, whether it's in imaging. I have spent a lot and have found that my greatest investment is the investment in myself, my clinic or my business, and also third is taking whatever profits and actually putting them into some place where you're not going to lose money and it's going to generate income for you. So you don't have to do it, so that you actually, at the end of your ride, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, at the end of your ride, and even mid-ride or shortly into your ride, you're replacing your income with an other income, with a passive income. Now, that's not for today's topic. For today is on certainty and confidence. But the more confident that you become, in order for me to become really confident in my area, and it required me being willing to invest in myself. Now, the reason why I love the injury market is because the injury market is an area with an injury. I would think of it this way: with a dog bite, there's no like uncertainty whether the person has a dog bite or not. You can see it. A gunshot wound. Nobody has, you go, well, I don't know. I don't know what, Now, there is definitely a difference between gunshot wound doctors, right? If I got a gunshot wound, I want a doctor that's like, oh man, this is my specialty. I live for basically putting people back together when they've had a gunshot wound, right? Now, the injury market in the spinal injury market is the same. There's 3 main injuries. And once you understand it, now for some of you, you're hearing this and you're saying, yeah, I already know about that, right? And I'd say, if you and I talked and we really talked and you were really honest, you know about it like the middle of the bell curve knows about it. You know about it in an average, mediocre way. And I do too. It's not just you. I continuously have to improve. There are people that are a lot smarter than I am. So there's no, when people say lifetime learners, yeah, that's where you want to be. You want to be a lifetime learner. But in the injury market, there's things that are capable of being highly understood and you're capable of being very certain about. And once you're certain about the injury, you're going to be certain about the documentation. You're going to be certain about what you need to do if you're with an attorney, what you need to do if you're in a deposition, what you need to do if you're on trial, what you need to do with the insurer, what you need to do with the IME provider, what you need to do with the patient, what you need to do with the patient's family. You become extremely certain. And when you become confident, really highly confident with your certainty, it's super attractive. It's super attractive to be around. Your staff will want to be around it. Your patients want to be around it. Your family wants to be around it. Your wife wants to be around it. Your husband wants to be around it. Your kids want to be around it. It's highly contagious. Certainty and confidence is contagious. But here's the other thing, doctors. Uncertainty is probably more contagious. Uncertainty is way more contagious. If you're around uncertain people and you're spending all your time with uncertain people, you are going to be uncertain. If you're spending all your time with average, mediocre, you're going to be average and mediocre. I know that sounds brutally like, wow, that's so brutal, but it is brutal. And the sooner you get over that and you go, okay, I mean, when I work with doctors, we bring a doctor into the Smart Injury Doctor program. I want that doctor to go, let's say he's in, let's say he's in Wausau, Wisconsin. Small town, 50, 60,000 people. I want that doctor, he or she, I want that doctor to become the best doctor in that area. Everybody would go to that doctor. Everyone would know that doctor. The attorneys would know him. The medical doctors would know him. The patients would know him. The factories would know him. The union people would know him. The HR people would know him or her, him. I'm saying him, meaning just the doctor. Could be male, could be female. I mean, because they're just assuming an area. They're being responsible for that particular area. And the more that you look and say, look, we want to be the best. And I don't care if you have 1 clinic, 10 clinics, you want to have 1,000 clinics, you want to be a publicly traded company in the injury space. It's the same. One, you got to know the injuries. And remember, these injuries have never been taught. They've never really been taught in any school. Not in chiropractic school, not in PT school, not in DO school, not in MD school. So you have to find great sources of information and you have to be willing to invest in yourself in order to get that information. Confidence and certainty in the personal injury space is the easiest place to get it. Now, is it a crazy space a little bit? Yeah, because there's different shenanigans that go on in the space. Not unlike any space. Right? Are there people that you would not want to work with? Yeah, there's attorneys I wouldn't want to work with. There's doctors I wouldn't want to work with. There's medical doctors I would. It's the same as any business. But if you are deciding what cuts through all of that, if you're sitting there and you're sitting there right now and you're going, wow, I'd like to do more of this, but I'm just not certain. I'm going to tell you you're not certain because you're average. If you became certain, you'd be like, there's no way in heck that I'm letting people get to other doctors that really don't know what they're doing. I'm going to reduce the risk for this patient. And when I reduce it for a patient, if a mother of three comes in, married mother of three comes in, and she's got bad headaches from an auto accident, I'm thinking, look, if I don't fix that, if I don't help her to fix that, if I don't help her to stabilize that, if I don't help her to get rid of that condition, what's the relationship with her three kids going to be like if she's got headaches all the time, or her husband, or her coworkers? So I know that when I'm setting up a clinic and I'm treating people, I'm treating the family, I'm treating everybody that's involved with that person. So the biggest way to get confidence in the personal injury market is to make a decision to not be in the middle of the bell curve. And maybe you're not in the middle of the bell curve, then make a decision to stay forward, stay in front. But you have to continuously, there's no stopping your learning and you're looking at things so that you continue to get more and more certain. And the best way that I know how to do that, and I've done it my whole life, is to find somebody who knows a lot more than you do. Find a coach. Coaches are what make it. Consultants, coaches, people that have already been through what the information that you want to go through, the place you want to go through. If they've already been through it and they've already made it so it's a lot easier, that's priceless. You can't, I don't know, that's priceless. I mean, I've spent so much money having top people. And what I learned is that if I try to shortcut or quickie, I try to save, it never works. It just doesn't work, because eventually I'm going to get to that top person, because that top person in a field, let's say I'm just going to use an example, Facebook marketing, right? I can go, okay, let me spend $497 and learn about Facebook marketing. I go to this person and they're like, okay, they're kind of good. And I start to do the Facebook marketing. I find out, wow, it didn't really work. I spent $10,000 on Facebook marketing based on a guy's $497 and I didn't get any results, right? When I didn't want to spend $10,000 on the guy that really understands Facebook marketing, he's got a great program, and then also has an agency, and I have to spend $2,000 or $3,000 a month, and half of it goes to Facebook marketing. But guess what? I'm getting 30 patients a month, right? So my experience is you want to find the best that you possibly can and stop limiting yourself. You're putting limits on yourself. Oh, I'm too poor. I can't afford this. I might not be able to do it. I might not be able to do their program. That's all uncertainty. That's all just, and it's not real, doctors. So again, the biggest way that I know to improve your confidence is to make a decision to not be average. And that's what, in my Smart Injury Doctors program, we make doctors that are, I'm so proud of the doctors that are in our program, because of the fact that they are changing lives. They're improving their skill levels. They're improving their ability to go to attorneys, go to MDs, explain things to patients. They're improving their abilities to understand the injuries themselves. They're improving their abilities all over there, how to train their staffs, how to set up automated email systems, all kinds of things that they're improving, not only their clinical skills, but their business skills. So if you have questions on that program, it's really, really simple. You just call 800-940-6513, or you go to the website, smartinjurydoctors.com, hit learn more. Give us your email and give us your name, your email, follow the prompts, and you'll see an area that says, oh, this is our program. This is what it's all about. It also gives you a place to click. You can get on with Chrissy or any of our staff and find out more about us. Doctors, each time I do a webinar or a podcast like this, just short, sweet, to the point. Hopefully it's made you think about something, and it doesn't matter what. If you feel like you're average as a parent, good. Go get above average. You feel like you're average as a spouse, don't do it. Don't stay there. If you think it doesn't matter. When you decide you're going to get onto the other side and be at the front, or be as good as you can at that particular thing, you will notice your confidence in that area significantly improves. Doctors, I thank you very much for everything that you do. I look forward to seeing you on the next podcast.
You've been listening to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the #1 audio production show for professionals in the U.S. injury market that want to deliver better injury services to the patients, clients, or insureds they serve. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review and don't forget to join us on our next program.